Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 79 of the Champ We Are United. I haven't finished. Welcome to the. Oh, I've lost my flow now. Welcome to episode 79 of the Champ
Start
We Are
again if you
United.
want. Start again if you want. Go on.
Okay. Welcome to episode 1 of a new podcast. Oh, not that far back. Oh, sorry. Hello, I'm here too. It's Rob. Hello. No, seriously. This is episode 79. Have I mentioned it? Of the Champ We United podcast. So, yes, I'm your host for this evening, Gull. And not in the studio this evening, let's say hello to the usual suspects. First of all, let's say hello to Matt.
Hello, Go. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Mute button, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, and I hope all the listeners are good out there as well. Looking forward to today's show.
I am too. Let's move on to the man they call Tangent Paul. It's Paul Tangent Paul.
Evening, Goal. I'm very well, thank you. I'm looking forward to getting another one in the can, as they say.
I didn't ask how you were.
I thought I'd just answer anyway.
How are you?
I'm the same as I was 20 seconds ago. Thanks, Goal.
Oh, yeah. Don't go on about it. And let's move on to the newest signing, of course. He's now a regular feature in the team. And boy, did he give a match-winning performance last episode. Well, he always does, to be honest. It's Neil Bygone Berrigan.
Hello, and good evening from sunny Blackpool.
Hello, good evening from sunny Blackpool. No, that wasn't a very good impression. Yeah, are you well, Neil?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Yep, fine.
Excellent. And finally, it's the voice of reason himself, our very own VOR, the Boldy man, as he's known. It's only Simo.
Evening, Gull.
How are you?
I'm good, mate. Raring to go on another one.
I know. It was only a week since the last one. Quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's it. Time goes faster as you get older. That's what they say.
I know. We've got to watch our vocal cords. We don't want to strain ourselves and be out for 6 months or anything like that.
Good thing.
No, definitely not.
Missing from the studio this evening are, well, I don't know where he's gone, to be honest. I mean, he was in Vegas. Don't know what he's doing now. He'll be back soon, though. It's the luscious locks of Ridders. You are Miss Ridders. Do come back soon. I think we all agree with that, don't we?
We do. There's a map. There's a great map. There's a map in the studio, and we're kind of plotting his tour of the world, aren't we? He's going.
We are. There's nothing in the square jar, as Tangent Paul referenced a couple of episodes ago. So,
he's just trying out all the different barbershops across the world, just trying to get those luscious locks trimmed and conditioned. And
are you sure?
I'd actually heard he just entered into a lifetime contract. So, yeah,
could have been.
He could be tied up for a while.
Are you sure he's not gone off in a canoe? Oh, no, I know. Right, let's go through the running order, shall we? We haven't missed anyone out, have we? That's everyone. Oh, and myself.
Just check in.
Hello.
Oh yeah, let's go.
So the running order. First of all, we'll begin with Melvin's musings, and that'll be with Matt, won't it? Of course. Looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. And then we'll move along to Bygone Berrigan. What have you got this evening?
So tonight I'm going to be reviewing the Football Picture Story Monthly number 36, a story called The Brothers.
Is that about brothers?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
might be related.
No spoilers.
Giving it all away.
Spoilers.
No spoilers. Okay, and then we're going to be having, and this is the reason why we've come back after just 1 week with the Euros starting next Friday. We're going to have a group chat about, the Euros. What a surprise. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Really see what our opinions are about who will win, who will go a long way. Yeah, that should be enjoyable. And finally, the last section of this episode, it's over to mute button Matt. Share with us what you're doing, Matt.
I am going to be taking us through all the times Roy Race played for England, or we saw Roy Race play for England throughout his illustrious career. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Excellent. And that's the running order for this evening. Of course, we'll end with the usual addresses and socials, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Now, let's begin, shall we? Are we all ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Lovely enthusiasm there, lads. So,
Come on, we're doing the best we can. Come on.
yep. I'm looking forward to it. Yep, I'm all right. So let's begin with the sort of, what's he called, the secret shadows member, and I don't mean Hank Marvin, of the team. It's actually Melvin. That's quite similar. It's only Melvin's musings, and we always look forward to that. So let's go to Mute Button Matt and tell us about all the feedback that we might have had.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to do a theme tune, or do you want me to like hum Apache by the Shadows, or no?
Well, you can try.
Down now, down now, down now, down now, down now, 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 down now. No, okay. Let's just go straight into it, shall we? Right, yeah. So
it's Melvin's music.
I knew you'd find that play button.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to try to move it. Thank you, Trevor, and appreciate the quick turnaround this week. All hands to the pump. He's been up. He's probably been up on his typewriter all night, up in his study. I'm just picturing him, just like, damn, I can't get it right, and his pieces of paper being screwed up and chucked in the bin, and he's like, they've only given me a week this time, but we appreciate it, Trevor. Thank you so much.
So this is podcast.
Damn you. So this is his musings from the Roy the Rovers 40 years after Facebook site. And the headlines are: Tangent Pool delivers new manager bounce as Champ We Are United go on pre-season Highland fling via Battle World. Which basically, you know what, that sums up the whole episode in like just 3 seconds.
Lovely.
It would have saved us an hour and a half last week, wouldn't it?
Right then, next on the agenda. No, sorry.
Yeah. And he carries on. So the Tangent Pool era began, and ended clearly because he's been dropped this week, but there's less of that. Let's talk about that on there. At Champ We Are United got underway in episode 78 with the Danefield United disciple employing a no-nonsense Victor Boscovich managerial style, which clearly gave the podcast team license to thrill. Tangent set his side stall out early on with an intense tempo, which provided midfield maestro, Mute Button Matt, the platform to produce a memorable This Is Your Comic Life that featured Blackpool Rovers, Backstreet Boy wonder, Nipper Lawrence. The rags to riches story of the UK football comic Cinderella Man is not to be missed, particularly the final chapter, Lawrence's career, which controversially links to a time when the player was the face of Treacle Flakes. Treacle Flakes.
Treacle Flakes.
Who remembers them?
Not sure
what makes them great? Treacle Flakes.
Gull, who was deployed in a more advanced role than he was perhaps seen during last season's campaign, created a big impression, like you two, big impressions, isn't it? With his Marvel's Comics Secret Wars feature. The Devonian, sounds like something from Star Trek.
That was Doctor Who, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Make it so number one.
It's the Devonians, quick.
Thanks.
Get out.
Well, yeah, especially from the Excretia City.
Yeah, it's the six-toed monster.
You can always do with another toe. Took us out of our footballing comfort zone to Battle World, no less. A confrontational place that even Johnny Dexter would fear to tread. Indeed, Gull had promised to tackle the return leg that takes place on Earth. The superhero matchup billed as Secret Wars 2 should toughen the lads up for the new season ahead. And then Bygone Berrigan, who's now fully integrated into the Champ We Are United squad, made his second consecutive start and produced another display to get the podcast supporters on the edge of their seats. Bygone this time took on edition 108 of Football Picture Story Monthly, a tale entitled Highland Fling, the David and Goliath Scottish Cup clash story. Caused so much controversy amongst the Champ We Are United teams that Simo, the podcast of VOR official, voice of reason, had to intervene to provide a ruling on the off-field gamesmanship employed by the Highland League team Inverdale Thistle. Yeah, it was a bit controversial, but then like Trevor says here, it did happen quite a bit back in the day. And actually, we got some comments on from some of the listeners about that as well. I think Adrian Law mentions it a bit later. So anyway, Trevor finishes with many thanks for the great escape to all of us. So thank you very much, Trevor. Great musings again. Moving on to the Champ We Are United Facebook site, Adrian. First of all, he kind of
friend of the show.
Adrian Lord, friend of the show, super friend of the show. took slight issue with. I think, do you remember we kind of said that him and Simo went on and
Went off on one just a
yeah,
tad.
and he said he was appalled with this abusive and derisory language. We're not really helping, are we? Just like abusing our fans. I don't. This is not really a strategy we should continue to do. Really, it's just abuse
especially
our
not
fans.
especially not top fan Adrian Lord.
No, we'd
Friend of
never
the
do that,
show.
Adrian. Friend of the show. But anyway, he did listen to it later on, and he said it was been a really great episode. And he just got to. He loved the Nipper and the Football Picture Story monthly story. So well done, Neil. Yeah, and that's what he said about the dodgy tactics. But then when you think about it, like we said, I think I was the first person to call them cheats. But every story I think about in comic book world, there's always dodgy tactics, weren't there? Really, I
Yeah.
don't think there'd be many stories if it wasn't dodgy tactics from some European side or South American side. Richard Woods said he's looking forward to listen to Nipper. So I hope you enjoyed that, Richard. And Gary Norton said another great listen. Good hosting skills, Paul Richardson. Oh, so some people like it.
Bravo.
Keep the votes coming in, listeners. Keep the votes coming in.
That's one now.
It's one more than I had 20 seconds ago.
We don't need a calculator for that. He says it's a tough job keeping Gull under control. Oh, tell me about it.
Tell me about
Bloody
it.
hell. Jesus Christ.
God, that was like stereo from us there, that wasn't it?
What's that all about?
Oh, I don't know, Goal.
I don't know. I think it's meant with love. He said, "Have you considered the Korean lion taming?" And he said he's. We mentioned that we're going to try and we need to talk about this actually. Trying to get in touch with some of the guys who created Football Picture Story Monthly. Yeah, he said he'd love to hear some of those. So yeah, stay tuned. We haven't done anything on it yet, but we will try and get in touch with those people. That'd be
Watch
really
this
interesting.
space. Watch
Yeah,
this space.
watch this space, or listen to this space even.
Yes, exactly.
Might be, yeah.
Unless you're watching on YouTube of some of our old episodes, then well,
Yeah.
watch this space.
Yeah, unless you're watching it in 2 years' time when
We've already done it, so
We've
don't
done
watch this space.
or didn't do it. I don't know really.
And
Anyway.
down the rabbit hole we go.
And then moving on to Twitter. Uncle
Twitter.
Ernie said he always sensed there was a lot going on in Nipper's private life that we never knew will all be revealed. We didn't really reveal much, and I don't think we actually revealed much they didn't actually reveal much in the storyline. But I think you're right. Nipper was the ones, particularly those early years. I think I mentioned it. There was huge background there, which you probably could have delved a lot deeper into, and arguably people would have been more interested in really. But such is the case for many of these stories, really. And then Aussie Lee finally
Friend of the show.
Real depth in the squad for the pod this episode, and the return of Ridder still to come. Great to hear Nipper get the Eamon Andrews treatment this week. Was always a favourite character of mine. Don't know if he means Nipper or Eamon Andrews.
I thought it was
both.
Eamon Holmes doing Eamon Andrews, but there
You know what? It wasn't funny last week, and it's still not funny, Paul.
Yeah, but you know me. I'm not. Not only am I known as Tangent, I'm also known for bad jokes that I keep on repeating.
Yeah, as long as 20% of your jokes land, we don't mind.
I'll be happy with 20% Goal.
When are those 20%? when are they going to come?
Yeah, can you let us know?
Is it 20% more than goals? That's for sure.
Oh, do you know what?
Oh,
I'm going to bring up my catchphrase now.
Yeah, go on.
go on.
I quit.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I was just going to say, I think you need to go to the monitor and do the review because I can't even say it now. I was going to say Vor has spoken.
Vor sounds like something from
Star Wars, yeah.
Secret
Lord
Wars.
of the Rings.
Yeah.
Send him to Vor. Aussie Lee, just finished off on Aussie Lee. Sorry, Aussie Lee, we will get to the end of it. And he
not
said,
sure we will.
bit of an ignominious end to the 84 annual for Nipper, giving Mouse competition because he
that
scored
was
off with
hilarious.
his stomach, didn't he?
I don't even know what you said.
Ignominious.
Yeah.
He's a librarian, so he's a lot more educated than us. So thanks Aussie Lee for. Thanks for
Doesn't
that.
take much, does it?
Not really, so that ends the feedback. But I just wanted to, before we move on, there was when we posted the episode last Sunday, I think it was. There was a sad news mentioned by Barry Tomlinson. He posted on Twitter the following day. In the episode, we did mention when Nipper finished in Tiger, there was a feature or letter from the editor. So the editor was a guy called Paul Gettins, who's the editor of Tiger. And he sadly heard of his death. So I just wanted to say rest in peace, Paul Gettins, and thanks for all the work he produced for us over the years.
Well said.
A bit of sad news, but anyway, back to you, Gol.
Thank you. Excellent feedback and musings there from Mute Button Matt. I'd just like to say that, we absolutely appreciate every bit of feedback. We appreciate everyone that listens to the show, whether you started with us at the beginning, came in the mid times, or this is your first episode. We appreciate you listening. It's a joy for us to do this for you, and to know that it's enjoyed and loved. It really means a lot to us. So thank you very much. Yeah. So shall we move on to the first section of the evening proper? And it's only Neil Bygone Berrigan. He's on a roll, isn't he? So, Neil, it's over to you. Let's try and keep it less than an hour. Off you go.
Right, so this is just a quick 5-minute section. So yeah, again, I've been delving into the Football Picture Story Monthly editions, and for this week, I've gone to look at Picture Story Monthly number 36, which was released in 1987. It's a shame they never put months on these, because I don't know what month this will have been. But yeah, it's entitled The Brothers, which was for the priceless sum of 28 pence. And on the back, the featured footballer is Colin Clark of Southampton and Northern Ireland, which is in the old cracking Southampton shirt, sponsored by Draper Tools. Yeah, I don't much remember him. I remember the name more than the player, but I think I'm getting him mixed up with.
I remember him playing for Northern Ireland. I can't remember who club was in.
See, mate, 86 World Cup, I would have said.
He was there. Yeah, he was there at the 86 World Cup. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he scored as well. I think did he get a goal against? Was it Spain possibly?
Oh, in 82.
86.
86.
I think I could be wrong.
But I used to like the pictures on the back. But thankfully, I never took any off my editions because it means that I don't like anything that's removed.
Yeah.
But, yes. So as I say, it's The Brothers. It's a great story. It's obviously how many years old now? That's 30. Is that 38 years old?
Sorry, Neil. I just looked it up. So 36 would have been November 87.
Right. So it's coming towards the end of 87. Yeah. So yeah, it's about 35 years old, and it's a story I do remember because the front page it's got a picture of one of the characters heading the ball off the line, and it's the Wales kit, and it's not spoiling the story, but it's a cracking kit as well. Wales did have some brilliant kits. I thought they never made it to a major championship, but they had some kits that were worthy of it.
I agree.
Yeah. So the story starts, and it's about two brothers, as obviously called Kenny Swanson and Kevin Swanson, which, as you read in the story, it does mix up a little bit because you try to work out who the successful one is and who the unsuccessful one is because they've got similar names. So, and then the three characters are Kenny, Kevin, and the father Tom. They're the main characters throughout the story. There's no other characters that feature on a regular basis throughout the story, which is quite strange for these books because usually you have a number of main characters. So yeah, it starts off and the two brothers are playing in the same school team, and it looks like Kenny's the good footballer who's got a natural left foot, and he's a left midfielder, like a winger, attacking and coming in all the time. And they're both good players, but obviously Kenny's the main footballer out of the two, and they both get picked for a trial. They both get picked for a team called Brummington City. Which is that in the multiverse?
That's in the Unitedverse, isn't it?
That's the Unitedverse, that one.
Yeah. So it is peppered with these teams, and he gets. They don't feature none of the players throughout the story. It don't mention hardly any of the other players for the team. But they both go for the trial, and Kenny gets picked, and Kevin plays his heart out, but unfortunately he didn't get selected at the time. Kenny's quite big-headed compared to the other brother because Kenny's got the good left foot and he's quite a good footballer, whereas Kevin's more industrious as a footballer. Obviously, he's upset that he hasn't been picked, but he does compete in other trials, and he eventually gets picked for a second division team called Southampton Rovers. So we find out in the story that Brummington City are the big team in the country at that time. So that's who he as he plays for, and they get even better, and he gets picked for England. He comes through as a great left winger for England, and obviously at the time, we wasn't blessed with many good left wingers. So he got picked for England, and it really rankles his brother Kevin, because I've seen him. I'm getting him mixed up now. Yeah, Kevin. Yeah. So Kevin, it really rankles him, and there's like a rivalry anyway, because they're brothers. They're not twins. One's younger than the other, but yeah, it really rankles him, and it pushes him to try harder. And he gets picked up for this second division team, and he cracks on, and he's really took his chance, and he's a really good stalwart player for Southtown Rovers. And the fact is that his brother's doing really, really well playing for England. He's playing really well as well, but because he's in the second division, he's not being picked for England. And unfortunately, in that right midfield slot, it's the England captain, so he knows it's going to be hard to dislodge him. Right. Towards the end of the first season, Brummington climbing up that table, and they win the championship. But the brother who's playing for Southampton Rovers in the second division, they just need a point to get promoted in the last match of the season. And unfortunately, he scores an own goal in the last few seconds. The ball deflects in off him, and they don't get promoted. So he's got that. He's really upset. And then, and to cap it all, in the same week, his brother's going to be making his first appearance for England, and he's proper rubbing it in as well to his brother. There's no brotherly love there. Right. He really, really has a go at him all the time, which results in them both fighting. Kevin throws a punch, and unfortunately, there's the papers pick up on it, and they realise that there's big rivalry between the two players. The dad is upset with all this, obviously seeing his two sons arguing, but then he remembers that he was born in Wales, just on the outskirts of England.
On the border. That's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, boy. That's it. That's all.
Listen, I'm half Welsh. I'm allowed to say that.
So anyway, he gets picked. He sees that he can play for Wales. He goes to the Welsh manager, and the Welsh manager said, "I'd gladly have him in the team because he's struggling at the minute, Wales, and they just got beat 5-1 by Scotland." So he says that, we'll put him in the team. And as the story comes towards the end, it looks like it's going to be an England versus Wales match, and the two brothers are going to play against each other in the big match at Wembley.
Oh, cool.
Whee!
Bless you.
That's a Sivo sneeze right there.
So there's a big rivalry on the pitch, and they're playing, and they're coming up against each other. And in the early tackles, they're like bouncing off each other and winning tackles each. And the match just kind of progresses. There's like backbiting between them two during the game, as you can imagine. They both, because one's on the left wing, one's on the right, they do get to meet, and it's Kenny who wins that first encounter. He actually runs past his brother, but then his brother manages to catch up with him, makes a great tackle. And there's the name calling each other again while they're playing, but Kenny gets the better of him and puts a cross in, and England take the lead 1-0.
1-0.
1-0 to England. So then
been
again,
a while since we've heard that.
I was just going to say, sorry, Neil, just to interrupt. Paul, you've been showing, for the listeners' sake, you've been showing pages on the screen, haven't you?
Yeah.
Shows that
for us, not the listeners.
Yeah, well, for this, I'm explaining what I'm talking about. What I've noticed, and I didn't really read the Football Picture Story Monthly or account, but I love it when the goal goes in and you get a great big yes in great big capitals, yes, and then the exclamation mark. It's just goal.
Yeah, goal.
Your boys took a hell of a beating.
You never really got that in the IPC stuff. It was all the kind of DC Thompson stuff. I like it. Yeah.
What I love about this, it's the artist again, and I've just remembered Highland Fling was the same artist.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it looks the same style.
I think that's why I like the stories, because I love the artist, and they're so detailed as well. Like you said, there's an image there on page 28, and it's goal of the ball being hit in, and you can see like detail in the crowd and that. It's not just circles or mashed up. It looks like it's really good. Like
it looks really exciting, doesn't it? It just brings it to life. Yeah.
And the old story does, like I think they come in page 31. If anybody's got a copy, I'll just put it to the screen. The two teams are coming out at Wembley, the Wales and the England,
That's
and
great.
the kits are like
I
really
love that.
detailed and things
I
like
love
that.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. They're coming out, and it looks like they're coming out from the old Wembley tunnel.
Yeah, it would have
not
been the
one
old
at
Wembley tunnel when the Twin
Yeah,
Towers are still around.
Yeah, and as you're looking through, I was going to come back. Even like there's two comment on page 32. There's two commentators, and you can even look. It don't look like your typical stadium. It actually the artist has put detail in to make it feel like it's Wembley. And I think it's
Nice
great.
touches.
It
Yeah.
comes across. I forgot where I'm up to now.
1-0.
sorry.
1-0
It's
England.
It's
1-0
1-0,
sorry,
England.
and the brothers
Yeah.
are
1-0.
squaring up to each other. Kevin says to Kenny, whichever way round it is, "Do you want to play dirty?" I think the dad must have got mistaken a few times as well.
I'm sure.
And then we see on page 37, which is great, which you're just holding up there. It's the actual, a copy of the front page, but it's two different artists who wrote it, and it's very rare you saw that as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's actually,
That's
a good
really
point.
unique.
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing that in any of the others.
That's
I
really
think
cool.
there's a couple, I think, as well. I think there's one called Dirty Animal. One of the football picture story monthlies, and if I'm not mistaken, there's the front page is featured inside again.
Wow.
And the
Well, I
Bulldog
will.
breed.
Sorry, Neil, to go on that. Actually, one Ridders did the Nearly Man. The goal on the cover, actually, I think, is then also covered in the story in the cup final. That sort of a slight difference on the cover,
Rare,
but
though,
the
wasn't
panels
it?
in there. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But there was one called the Bulldog breed as well. There's I remember that one. But I'm just trying to remember, was it the same artist inside though? Whereas this one's a different artist.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah.
Good shout.
But anyway, again, they're playing in the matches like England should be 3 up, but the Welsh are defending doggedly, and Kevin's on the line, even though he's a right winger, he's there on the line saving.
Is it Kevin or
ball
Kenny?
off the
Oh
line.
yes, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it's because it's brother against brother. The match is really heating up, and they're both giving their all. And it's just like end to end, they're blocking free kick, winning throw-ins off each other. And then with 15 minutes left, Kevin wins a throw-in, throws the ball directly into the box in Wales. Somebody called Morgan, it don't give his full name, probably Taffy. Taffy Morgan heads it in, and it's 1-1.
Cliff, the famous Cliff Morgan.
Oh yeah.
Which again, it's fantastic artwork again. I'll always say that about this artist. I wish if any of the listeners can find and identify who this artist is, I'd really appreciate it. And again, the match goes to the last seconds, and England win a corner, but Wales break down the other end. And Kevin collects a long ball up, tackles one of the players, goes through, takes on about 3 defenders, and then it's the winner in the last seconds, and then they've done it. And then page 43, we've got the brothers at long last shaking each other's hands, which is nice, isn't it? Because the old story, they've been fighting against each other, and obviously the dad must be proud up there in the stand. And then they both brothers in the next clip have both got their arms around each other, saying, "I'm glad." The dad's like, "I'm glad there's going to be an end to the quarrelling," and they're like, "I don't know about that, but you've created a problem for the future because who are you going to support now, Wales or England?" Yeah, as you can see there. Oh, yours has done that as well. Mine, the print from the next story.
The other stories come onto the page.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great story. I love it. Again, it's only 44 pages long, about 43 pages, but there's only 3 main characters in the story, and I think it's a great little story. And again, it's multiverse as well with Brummington City. And again,
which year was this again? Sorry,
1987.
Neil? Yeah, 87.
November 87. Yeah.
I've got Ray. Go on. Sorry, carry on, Neil.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say what makes it as well is the early ones had the colour in it. They've got a redness, whereas the later issues of football, they all went black and white, if you remember.
Yeah.
Which this helps for Wales, doesn't it? Because they're featured in red.
It's a great story. I like the twist. First of all, I just thought it was a couple of brothers that are trying to get into a team, trying to make it in the game and stuff like that, and then. But then, like when one plays for Wales, it's then they play each other. It's a great story.
A lot of the stories, you think, right, one will play, for example, Manchester United, and one will play for Manchester City. But the good twist is that they're both brothers, but they've got different nationalities, and I think at the time it was Ireland, wasn't it? They were looking at the players who were English based, who may have had grandparents who were Irish, like Tony Cascarino, which is.
Well, I was just trying to think. I mean, Simo can help out here.
What's that? What? Some of the players who, there was Cascarino, Houghton, Lawrenson, McCarthy.
Yeah,
there's lots of them.
If anybody's got 10 minutes, read Tony Cascarino's biography.
Yeah.
It's only small. If anybody's read it, it's a fantastic read, especially how he gets to play for Ireland as well, which would never happen nowadays.
No.
I don't want to give the spoiler away, but it's a good read.
Cascarino's brilliant. I was lucky enough to bump into him before Christmas before at the station, like just down the road from where I live, and he was going because he works at Talk Sport now, and it's like a 20-minute train journey from where I live into London Bridge, and I just said hello to him. I had a photo with him on the platform saying, look, you know, one of my heroes back in the day from Millwall, and I thought that would be it. We get on the train and he just sat with me and we just chatted for 20 minutes just about football.
Yeah, he's a top guy. Yeah.
Such a nice guy, honestly, brilliant. But yeah, sorry, Neil.
I was just going to say that on the brothers though. That's what I was going to ask Simo. I can't remember what World Cup, but of course you had the Boateng brothers, didn't you? So was it one of them? I think plays for Ghana and one plays for Germany. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Good knowledge.
So with these, obviously this one would have, if you're saying this one was 87.
Mm-hmm.
Would these have then been re-released later? Because this is one of the few that I actually can recall reading. I didn't know it was this one when I just saw the title.
I don't think this was released. I can't see it.
Picked them up very few and far between, and I'm sure it must have been later, probably in the early 90s when I read it. So I'm just wondering where I would have got it from.
Just let's have a look.
Possibly, I can't. Yeah, I must admit. I've gone through mine recently. There were quite a lot of because I've been sort of scanning some of my covers, and I've been really shocked actually by how many stories were in them.
227 called Brother Bother, but I don't know if that won't be it because it's a full 66 pages.
Yeah,
they did repeat a few of them, didn't they? And a few of them got
Yeah, it's just that I know for definite I wouldn't have read it before 1990 because basically the only one I got the first one was Stark commissioned in Mexico, and then like Football Picture Story Monthly's just disappeared because I was living in the middle of nowhere, and then when I moved I'd come across a few, but this would have been 1990ish.
Yeah,
I'm sure this is when I would have picked this one up, and I'm just wondering why it would have still been in the shops in 1990 if it came out in 87.
The only thing I'm going to say
throwing me off a bit.
There, Simo, the one thing I do remember about the Football Picture Story Monthly, certainly when I used to go on holiday into the shops around the seaside towns, shall we say, you often used to see you would never see necessarily old copies of Tiger or Roy the Rovers or the actual comics like Victor, but it was really weird. And I think it's because, as Neil said, with the Football Picture Story Monthlies, because they didn't actually have a date on them, I remember kind of walking into a place and thinking, crikey, you know, they've got like, you know, from almost a year ago, Football Picture Story Monthly still on the shelves. So I'm wondering, you know, it could quite have been that they had actually been left, because I did see that in several newsagents that, you know, some old ones still stayed on the shelves. And the only thing I can put that down to is that they didn't actually have dates. So you know, if somebody didn't know, you could walk in and think, oh, look at this new comic.
Yeah, you could think that's just come out that month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at the list on British Comics webpage, I can't see it doubled unless they change the name of it.
Yeah, it's just
Millionaire Misfit. That's on a couple of times.
Yeah,
it's
the only one I can think of, other than I think was it Millionaire Villa Misfit. Or something like that.
That was redone again. Millionaire Villa was redone.
I think I did have that one at one point, but this one, as soon as you started talking about it, it's like this one rings a bell. But I know it couldn't have been in 87. I definitely didn't see it then.
I think they replayed High Rise Rovers as well.
No Friends in Football was a reprint. I mean,
with this one, Neil, was it a case? I mean, it could possibly. I'm mixing it up with another one. Was it a case of, you know, the left-sided player?
Yeah,
was it Kenny? Yeah. He was the one that was considered like the talented player and got all the headlines, whereas the other guy was thought more of a kind of a workhorse team player.
That's what I said. Yeah, he's more. He works hard for his skill, whereas the other one.
So he was always considered to be like the inferior brother, and so on.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
yeah,
in the comics,
it's definitely the
there's
same one then.
there's been similar stories, hasn't there? You know, like there was Twin Trouble in Roy the Rovers. That was kind of similar as well. That they were brothers, but they were twins. These aren't
Terrible
twins. One's
twins.
younger and one's
Yeah.
older. The Terrible Twins. It was called, wasn't it? Not Twin Trouble.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, not bad for 48 trying to remember these things. But yeah, it's as I say, it's a great story. But again, just going back to the Football Picture Story Monthly, I don't want to carry on talking, but that spoiled my collection because I never bought them. If I'd already read the story, I never bought an issue. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even though I've got a
okay.
collection, I'm missing. And I'm not going back on eBay now. I'm paying £5 just to have a double story.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I never bought them if there was the same name of story because I wanted to spend my £1 on something else. But
Yeah, makes sense. Unless you're an avid collector, yeah. Why would you?
yeah, but
It's like going to the cinema and paying to watch a film you've already seen, isn't it? You know, it's the same
that's
kind
it. Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I seen it on a car boot, I might buy it again. I do it that way, but yeah, at the time I was just like, no, I'm not buying a double one. It used to upset me a little bit because when you're younger, you try to buy it, I used to think it was laziness, but at the end, now when you're older, you appreciate how many stories they must have had to, write and make original. But yeah. Yeah,
I just on, as you say, just on that, Neil. I mean, I've been scanning. I'm up to number 278, scanning my covers, and two things have really struck me actually on that. I'm surprised at how many stories actually did get reprints. But one thing I do like about Football Picture Story Monthly, once you opened the cover, if it was a reprint, it would always actually say inside this story was first published on X date, which is good. But the other thing that's really surprised me is actually how many times the cover art was used for more than one story.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you made mention there, which was a brilliant observation of the picture on the cover story also being in the story. But as like Goal said, then obviously there are other covers pictures which are then used for later stories. Well, obviously that's then not going to be in the story because it was from a completely different use for a different story before. I was quite shocked at how many editions actually have the same covers.
I think, was it Ghost Striker? I'm sure they had a different. I'll have to have a look through. You've got me. I'll have to have a look now and spend a few days looking through them. Yeah. I mean, again, really great Football Picture Story Monthly. They did the summer specials. I'm gutted they never did an annual. An annual would have been fantastic, I think. But yeah, that's it. That's for me done.
Oh, brilliant!
Oh, that was brilliant. Another great, brilliant section there by Bygone Berrigan. Thank you, Neil. Lovely stuff. We look forward to your next content in a future episode. Right then, let's. Oh, hello. Is Simo pouring a drink there? What was that?
Oh, here we go. It's been a few episodes since he's done this one.
Oh,
was it? What's on your plate, Simo? We haven't had that for months, have we?
Oh yeah, old listeners will love. What are you drinking, Simo?
And everybody's getting out their old pod bingo cards there.
Yeah,
look at that. It's not even Christmas time.
No,
contains aspartame. Controversial. Neil, what are you drinking?
Me, I'm drinking Diet Vive from a popular low cost supermarket. That's currently number one in the
other low
brands.
Hang on.
Are available.
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Oh,
what?
Who's that?
Will you let me in, please? All right, hang on. Dot, what do you want? Well, hello, Dorothy Cobden here. I want to know why I'm employed by you because no one's drinking my tea. Oh, sorry, Dot. We'll make sure we make it up to you.
Sorry, Dot. Yeah, she hasn't been employed as much recently, is she? Is she all right? Is she holding up?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you, madam. I'm lovely, thank you very much. But yes, thank you.
The problem is we've not got enough Northerners in the studio. That's the problem. That's why the tea's not so popular.
Yeah. Shock it, controversial.
We need Rab and Ridders back on, and then it'll create a bit of work for her.
He loves a brewed as our Ridders. He loves a brewed as our Ridders.
you know, on a celebrationary episode in the future, sometime, no doubt we'll get Rab back on as well, and
Oh yeah, that'd be
and
great.
one day we will do a live, not a live episode, blimey, but we will
We've been dead for
all be
years.
all together somewhere in person to do an extra special episode.
Do you know, the problem with that goal is there isn't a
Vegas.
theatre big enough to handle our audience. That's the problem, Goal.
There's not a room big enough to handle Gull's ego.
I think that would be.
Make the double doors bigger. He's got to get his head through.
Go on, Neil.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
I
saying
think
I'd be
if
up
we're
for a
still
meeting.
going at number 100, we definitely need to do that as a
you
100th
know what?
special edition.
I've been thinking about it the other day. That's only 21 episodes away. I
Yeah,
reckon.
so you're looking 18 months, aren't you?
If he gets off a good behaviour, yeah. Like community service. If he's
Well,
lucky.
the abuse I get from the rest of the team is shocking. You know, I might just quit again.
No, you won't. You love it too much.
No, I don't.
Anyway, if you quit, who are we going to abuse if you quit?
Well, me without being here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's fair enough. Yeah,
But
Right
it's nowhere near as much fun.
That's very true. So yes, shall we move on?
Go on then.
Yeah, go on.
Brief interlude with Dot. Right, it's going to be current conversation now, something about now. And with the Euros starting next Friday, we're going to have a discussion, well, about all things Euro and what we think will happen. And we're not forgetting Scotland as well for our Scottish listeners. Hello, Rab. I mean, I'm sure we've got more than one Scottish listener, but you know what I mean. So who would like to start then on the conversation about the Euros?
Go for it,
Choose someone.
Paul. Go on, Paul.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
after that double doors gag, I think I'm going to make you.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know. Let me just put
I've
it
got
out
him
there.
flummoxed. Look at that.
You have got me flummoxed, but do you know what? From all great flummoxes, I can return. So I went on to one. Can we mention a very popular broadsheet? They've got a predictor on their website. And so I went through the predictions, the
Beano.
Telegraph, the
Okay,
Beano,
right, okay.
the Beano Euro, the famous Beano, Dennis the Menace, Euro
Nash's
2024
quotes,
with
yeah.
Nasher. And I ended up with a Spain-France final with England exiting at the quarter-final stage. So those are my predictions. And I think it's been mentioned on the podcast. I do a really weird thing. I collect these match attacks cards, and the Euro 2024 cards are out on that. And I use those. And Netherlands, in fact, won the competition in my little mock-up. So for those of you that don't know match attacks, a little bit different, but I'm sure most of you remember Top Trumps. So it's a little bit like that. So I pitted the nations and my collection against each other from the groups. And as I say, some Netherlands came out on top. So it shall be interesting to see if my predictions and my match attacks will be proved right on, I think, is it the 14th of July or whenever it is. And I think that's basically the extent of my Euros 2024 knowledge. So I'm ready to hand over to anybody else that's got something a bit better or possibly more informative.
Well, I say the voice of reason, Simo, let's go over to you.
Right. Okay. Well, I also did that. Thanks to you, Paul. I did that little predictor thing as well. I'll get to what I came up with in a minute. Starting with England, the one thing I'm really, really disappointed about with the squad that's been announced is I just can't believe he's left Grealish out. I just don't understand that. You know, they've been saying he's not had a great season, but I don't see what he's done wrong. He's the kind of player that you give the ball to 5 minutes from the end, he'll not give it away. He'll win free kicks. He'll buy you time. It's flummoxed me, but yeah. I think Southgate's had it in for him. I don't think he's ever really been convinced by him.
I don't think Pep has either. He's not a Pep purchase, so he's not helped his season as he's not backed him and things like that. He's not been a regular player. So I think that's where the problem with Grealish has come from for this season.
I think the one thing that I remember, and it's always stuck with me, is at the last Euros in the semi-final when we played Denmark, and we were obviously trying to get a goal to avoid it going to penalties, obviously knowing our record of penalties, he brought Grealish off the bench. And as soon as we scored, he then substituted him. He substituted the substitute. I thought, how disrespectful is that?
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
and that is like, if that doesn't tell you that he just doesn't trust that player, then what more? I don't see what more the guy can do.
I think you're right. He does provide something different.
Yeah.
Different to the other players. I mean, the players that are there. Anthony Gordon, I thought he was pretty good actually in the last friendly, playing down the left, and he's more a direct player. But
yeah, I think that's what Southgate likes.
Nobody does was Grealish. Yeah, but he's not the same player as Grealish. And you're right, Grealish can do a different job. Yeah, it's a good shout.
I mean, if you look back at Southgate's teams, he's always wanted pace down the sides, hasn't he? Whether it's been Sterling, Rashford, Saka. He always seems to go for like a road runner rather than a technical creative player. And I think, well, who's he going to put there? I mean, no disrespect to Anthony Gordon, but is he as good as Grealish? Does he offer what Grealish can?
For the reasons he's not picked Grealish, I mean, I think he's just not had a consistent season. But he's took a player in Luke Shaw who's not played since February. He's not 100% fit. And for them reasons, he didn't take Maguire.
Yeah.
But so I can't understand, it's like you say, I mean, Grealish could easily have played in a wing, like just ahead of the wing back kind of role as well, like you say, gives him that just a difference.
Plus he's not got many options on that side, has he? Because Foden doesn't like to play on the left. Palmer doesn't like to play on the left. So really, if anything happens to Anthony Gordon now, who does he turn to?
It'll be, but I tell you, you're saying that, but I'll tell you what, Foden will be starting on the left.
Do you think
so?
Yeah,
I think
I'll be
10.
But
as Simo said, who's he going to? I don't see Gordon starting in the first game.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think I could be wrong, but I would be flabbergasted if the front three aren't Foden, Kane, and Saka.
Yeah, I'm convinced they'll play Saka because
Bellingham and Rice.
He wants to go for pace.
Who's he then playing alongside those two in midfield?
I think Kane and Rice are a definite, aren't they? Then it's a kind of a which of the four does he play between them is a bit more kind of up in the air. But yeah, I just and the other bit I don't get is why did he stick so long with Henderson? Like he's defended him, and then dropped him just before the tournament. It's like the timing of it just doesn't make any sense.
Do you know something, Simo? I completely agree with you, and I was quite surprised at that, considering all the flack that he's taken and supported Henderson.
Yeah.
But I can only, and I'm going to say this guy's name wrong, is the young lad from Crystal Palace. Is it Wharton? Wharton. I think he's seen Wharton and said, actually, because do you know what? There's a couple of things, and I think it's very difficult as well. And I think as fans, the one thing that I don't think that we really think about as fans is having good squad members, and it's kind of I think there are players that have made that squad because they're good bench players, as in they're good around the squad. If you have a good tournament, you can be away for a month.
I mean, they're not Ben White, you mean?
Yeah, they're not disruptive. They're not causing interest. Well, Mats Hummels has been left out of the Germany team, and by all recognitions, it's kind of widely known. I mean, Mats Hummels comes out and criticises his manager 2 days before the European Cup final and says that the Borussia Dortmund manager, whose name escapes me, is playing the wrong tactics. So, of course, as an international manager, and I'm not saying, but I think what people haven't realised, I know he's played him, but I think Henderson was in the squad a lot for that, in that he could do a role for Southgate, but he was a good squad member, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he was a good leader, wasn't he? He was good around the other players. I just don't understand the timing of that's what I don't get.
Oh no, I do agree with you.
It's like if he was going to drop him, why didn't he do it at the start of the qualifying tournament? I just don't understand why now.
I think it's gone. That's again, I don't get. You can't argue, can you? You can't say it's because of playing time, because he took Shaw. And you can't argue he's not played enough, because he's not had a good season. Henderson, has he? He's played for two different teams. Ajax haven't done well, but he can't. He's
totally contradicting himself.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't get it.
He's saying I'm taking players based on form and fitness, and then he's going completely against that. It just.
Yeah, but
it does make you wonder.
That's a unique problem, and it's like you can argue what other choice would he. Who do you think's going to start left back? Do you think he'll play Trippier left back?
I think so. Yeah, I think
you have to,
I think he's
you know.
I think he's good. He's the best option we've got until Shaw's fit.
But hopefully we sat here next month at the end of the month going, he must have known something we didn't because
he's got it right. Yeah. I mean, on that, and sorry, as is my want, I said I wasn't going to say anything on a tangent. I do actually struggle with all the criticism of Southgate, and I'm probably putting the pod in a very difficult position here, and I can't wait for the backlash on Facebook and Twitter. But hear me out. I'm not saying he is the best manager, but I find it very difficult in my lifetime of following England. We've got a manager that his tournament record is semi-finals, final. I mean, that's only the second major final that England have ever been in. And he's taken us to that. It's the only major final in my lifetime. And then quarterfinals of the World Cup. And I know people will laugh at this as well, but also qualified. And I know people laugh at these competitions, but I am actually a massive fan of the Nations League. He took us to the semi-final of that. Sorry, Matt.
Oh my God.
So all I'm saying, I can't criticise Southgate because his tournament record up to this point, I think, well, you know, we all rave about Terry Venables, and I'm a massive Venable fan, and I know he only had one tournament, but he got us to the semi-finals. Southgate has done that twice, and yet apparently everybody wants him out and says he's useless.
Well, you've opened up the flood Southgate's there.
I do have a lot of time for Southgate as a person, but I look at what he's done with that team, and I don't think he's got the best of what he's got there available to him. I think if he'd have been a little bit braver, we could have got further. And I also look at who we've beaten, and I don't think if you look at any of the teams we've beaten to get where we got to, none of them were teams we wouldn't expect to beat. When it comes down to it, when we play a big team, we still don't win.
We were expected to beat Portugal in '86. You know, where do I stop? Who was it? Costa Rica. You know, I mean, we haven't got a great history.
It's like you say, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. He's obviously picked a team that's got good camaraderie. You know, his assistant, he does a lot of work behind the scenes, seeing what them relationships are like.
Yeah.
So there's other reasons, and
there's no doubt he has got a spirit in that squad that's been missing for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. His man management skills are fantastic.
Do you know what? It's like you just said though as well. None of the players who've been dropped at the minute have actually come out and made a big newspaper article or social media article. Everyone seems supportive of the decisions. So I think that's what support they have in the group.
Actually, what you've said, and I've read, and I'm amazed because I was going to say, Simo, it's interesting, and I do agree with you. I don't think Grealish has ever necessarily been a Southgate favourite, and the other one I don't think has been a Southgate favourite is Maddison. You know, kind of got into the squad for the World Cup and is out again. But as Neil said, I've read quotes from both of them. And they've both basically, to sort of surmise, have said they're gutted to not be in the squad, but looking to get back in after the tournament sort of thing, which, you know, in years gone past, an England manager would not have got that sort of respect, I don't think.
No, possibly not. Certainly not in the time of the golden generation.
Perhaps, I know this might be a controversial idea, but perhaps, you know, with that in mind, you know, that these players are looking forward to, you know, getting back into the squad after the Euros, perhaps he's seeing this Euros as a building block towards trying to win the next World Cup.
I don't disagree, but I don't think you can afford to do that. And just quickly on that, the one thing, I don't disagree with Simo, and I have this argument at work all the time. You know, every tournament comes around, the last couple of tournaments, and all the guys I work with are all like, it's singing, it's coming home, and how we're going to romp it. And I say, can you explain to me how many players in our squad are going to get into the France team, the Spain team, these other teams? And yes, everybody goes on, we've got amazing attacking talent, and I really hate to say this, but have a look at our defence. I'm sorry, there is.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
You know, so again, I know what you're saying, but those words, I think Southgate hasn't got out of this squad, and we could, you know, all right, let's play this open, expansive football, and then let's really see what that back four does.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point. And this is where I think, but I get it though. I think it's about our frustration because we've had really good chances in that final and semi-final. Both of those games, and even against France in the last World Cup. So, and it's frustration because we want them to win so badly. And I think he could have been more adventurous, but you're right. When you've got look at the back four we've got, you can probably see why he's been a bit more cautious. I think the last World Cup is a bit more adventurous. Hopefully, he'll be a bit more adventurous.
Slightly.
I think he will be. But the last thing I'll say on it is that what concerns me is you see us playing against Iceland. Teams will be, playing a low block against us, and what you need is somebody who can kind of just create those chances or get a free kick, and that's what Grealish can do. Whereas Gordon is more player.
See, that's the
space.
thing. If you're playing a low block.
Yeah,
that pace on the wings is useless because there's no space to run into.
So
that's all right. Putting player like that on against a team that's coming at you,
exactly,
because then you've got a space to attack.
But I think we'll qualify.
If you're playing
for the
an
group,
inferior team,
maybe he's thinking about later on in the tournament. The last thing I'll say is, I think is that I think we do okay. But I can see us just going out in the quarters or the semis to unfortunately a decent side again. That's all I can say. Unfortunately,
I look at the squad and I think probably with the exception of France, overall we maybe have the next best squad. But yeah, these other countries just seem to have that winning mentality, don't they? When it comes down to it, they seem to have a way of getting across the line that we just don't. We just don't do it.
A good article today on the BBC website about the Germany team, about how they haven't got produced any world-class strikers since 2014.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, but they always at the last tournament they didn't get out of the group stage, did they? We've had Spain who've not got out of the group stage and things. So hopefully this year with England, we'll play as a team and not play the name who we're playing against, because regardless, if we got Germany in the next group round of matches, which I don't know if we can or not, straight away you think it's going to be an hard game. Whereas they've not got that world class of player, and sometimes if it might be Southgate's looked at the team and thought, we have got a good team rather than good individual players, so it might be that gets us through. Like France have got that chance to implode, Mbappe, there's a lot of egos in that team. Italy weren't that good last year, but the last championship, but they won it. Teams play themselves into championships, and
that's where we struggle. We play against the name, don't we? We're not playing the strength of the team on the pitch. We're playing against the reputation, and we don't seem to.
But I think we do that as supporters
problem
as well, don't we? Though.
Yes. Now, listen here, young man. Brian Clough here. Now, we should beat them all on paper. But listen here, young man, we're playing them on grass, so I'm not sure.
Just one last thing there. You mentioned France, but I guess I've worked at a couple of French companies in my past. I know quite a few French nationals. And trust me, the way they talk about Deschamps and how boring that French team is with all their talents, it's just amazing, actually. I think if you go to fans of other nations as well, and to think France complaining about Deschamps, won the World Cup, lost the Euros final, lost the World Cup final, and they want him out. Oh, I should be so lucky to have such issues.
Yeah, I mean, they have got a point, to be fair. They aren't exactly the best team to watch either, but they've got absolutely world-class match winners, haven't they?
Well, it's like Spain when they won every World Cup game 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people thought that tiki-taka was, something out of this world. I thought it was boring as hell. I really did.
It is boring.
It is boring, I think but it's amazingly effective.
I think that's how they won. They waited for the opposition to fall asleep. I mean, there's no doubt they were world-class players, but the way they did it, it was just like, oh, come on, take a shot, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fully getting back to your point, like you said at the start, Paul. I did that prediction, and I got exactly the same result as you did.
Yeah, which is interesting.
I got a France-Spain final and England going out in the quarters. So either we're both geniuses or we both know absolutely nothing.
Well, do you know something? If we get through the quarters, finals, I'll be happy to be proved that I know nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I still live in a world where I'm wondering, should it be Steve Marks or Roy Race up front for England? But anyway.
Just one last one thing on.
Well, Roy Race would be in goal, wouldn't he?
Tubby Morton would be up front.
Yeah, exactly.
Kidnapped by mercenary.
Just very briefly touching on the next World Cup. The chances of us winning the next World Cup diminish anyway, because I think I'm right that it went through. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it go up from 48 to 64 teams?
Right.
No,
Well,
it's from 32 to 48.
Is it 48? Is it?
Are you
Torquay
sure?
have qualified.
Yeah, absolutely
Apparently,
sure. Yeah.
Torquay in the group stage already.
No, yeah,
so.
Simo is right, because it's going. They haven't. I don't know if they've decided. They're talking about like 3-team groups.
Yeah, they did. They
crazy.
did originally think that, but they've actually decided that they're going to go with 12 groups of 4 because they just like the fact that it's 2 through, 2 out. Whereas if you went with 3 groups of 16, it'd be 2 out of the 3 teams went through. So then you'd have all that unlucky third place loser rubbish, which doesn't help attacking football, does it?
I was just going to say this, and I mean, again, if you remember when Portugal won the Euros, they came third in their group.
Yeah.
So again, sometimes it's easy, I hate to sort of say it, but I do feel in recent modern football, I'm not sure it is always the best nation, and there is an element of luck involved in winning these major tournaments.
You do. You've had none ever.
Well, you've only got to look at the Euros history, haven't you? When was the last time? Well, take Spain out of it, because I don't think anybody would argue that Spain were the best team when they won it. But you've got to go back a long way before that. I mean, you've had Greece, you've had Denmark, Italy weren't that great last time out. It's very true. Quite often the best team doesn't get there, do they?
Probably France.
Yeah, the France team, that Trezeguet goal or whatever it was, with a goal, the golden goal or whatever. But
a hair product.
You're asking me, Goal, about hair products. Are you for
real? we use wash and go, don't we, Paul? We wash and it went.
Exactly.
Your hair wash and gone.
Did anybody have Scotland? Did anybody have Scotland getting out of the group?
Well, I was going to touch on that in a second, if that's all right, Berrigan.
Yeah.
We're touching it now.
Before we go on to Scotland, being half Welsh, I'd just like to briefly talk about the chances of Wales in the competition.
So they're not going to do well this year.
Let's move on to Scotland.
I don't think they'll get out of the group stage.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get a point, will they?
Yeah. Thanks for ruining the flow of my joke there, boys. I really do appreciate it.
Sorry, if you know what, in the rehearsal, if you told us this, we would have,
exactly.
given you space. Sorry,
would have given you a chance. Just quickly on the Scotland thing, can you believe? And we're going to get the Scottish fans excited here. A bit of thing, but Scotland in my match attacks predictions managed to grab one of those best third place spots, and they get through to the second round.
Well, I'm predicting that Scotland will beat Germany 1-0.
Wow, I'd love that. I would like that.
I just think they've got nothing to lose big time, really, against Germany. And you get it quite a lot where the big boys get nervous on the first
Cameroon night,
and they're at home as well, aren't they, Germany? So
and Scotland do tend to play, they save the best performances for the big matches, don't they?
Yeah, true.
They usually slip up against the minnows.
Yeah. The only thing with that, Simo, is normally they do that in their third group game, having lost the first 2.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, they're usually the glorious failure when it's too late. Yeah.
Archie Gemmell, 1978.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule them out though. I mean, it's not a bad group, but it's not a group where there's anybody they should be necessarily afraid of either, is it?
It's an interesting group because I think we always underestimate the Swiss. I think the Germans are going to be very interesting. I think they could shock a few people. I think they're beginning to get it right. And the Hungarians have had a bit of a, again, talking about my favourite competition, the Nations League.
The last 2 or 3 years, they've really come out of nowhere, haven't they? So it's they've got a decent chance.
I think they could get through to the next round.
Well, that'd be amazing. They'll be really happy with that.
It is a shame that Wales aren't there, but they had such a performance. Oh yeah, Matt doesn't care, do you?
Well, it's a shame for any team not to be there, but that's football, isn't it? That's football. That's sport, isn't it? If you don't get it,
Ireland out there, isn't it? And
Northern Ireland, it's like but
Isle of Man.
It's the curse of the small country, isn't it? You've got to get the right combination of players all come through together.
Yeah.
So for the islands and Wales, you're always going to have that problem. you can have like a little spell of 3 or 4 years where they do really well, and then it might be another decade before they do anything again.
Yeah, very true.
Scotland to win 1-0 on a popular betting site is 22 to 1.
Well, I was going to put a bet on
That's a
tomorrow
good price.
for it. Yeah,
I was
going to.
Very good price.
Yeah, I. Yeah, no,
27 to 2.
We don't obviously, want people to go and bet, but yeah,
bet responsibly. Goal is what you meant to
That's the
say.
way.
Only bet with
Yeah.
what you can afford
Bet
to lose.
irresponsibly.
Yeah.
Gamble
And
aware. Gamble
And when
aware.
it stops being fun, stop.
Yeah, when the fun stops, stop. Yeah.
You can tell I'm out of practice hosting, can't you? It's been a good 5 months. It's like I've never done it before.
This
What's
is the
going
best
on
you've
here?
ever-
What did you say?
Nothing. Carry on.
You said this is the best ever.
It's the best ever you've done. That's great.
best
I love
ever.
it.
Is it? Oh, can you when oh yeah, I'll have that on my phone, please. So
I'll
my
delete.
ringtone.
I'll delete it out. It's fine.
Yeah, you probably will as well. Are we all done on the Euros, gents?
Yes, I think we are.
Just one little interesting question for everybody. Who do they think will be one of the outsiders that might pull off a shock
Wales.
and get a lot further than we expected? Good shout, that. Yeah.
Scotland.
Denmark.
Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
for Scotland. Yeah.
It's not going to be
It's,
Scotland.
it's a
Well-
good shout because there's always a surprise team like the World.
Well,
there always
I
will
mean,
be.
it's a bit. I'm not sure it's a bit of a surprise, but how many people? I'm going to stick my neck out with my match attacks and say Netherlands. How many people are really going to have Netherlands going on and winning it? So
Yeah.
there you
yeah,
go,
yeah.
Netherlands.
Very
Do
good.
you know what's surprising? I mean, to me, it's hard for. I'm a football fan, but I couldn't name 5. I won't bet my house on naming 5 Dutch players, 5 German players, 5 Spanish, 5 French. I don't think I could do that. Like years ago, I could rattle through squads. They just, even though football's so popular nowadays, I couldn't rattle anybody's team off except for the team of support, 1 to 11.
Yeah, I
No.
know. I'm the same.
Yeah,
Couldn't
it's an age thing, I think.
So,
But years
Remind
ago,
us.
like with my brothers, I remember writing down at World Cups, you'd write your Scotland team down, you'd write the England squad down. I just couldn't do it now. There's players in the England squad, I barely recognise the names.
Yeah, I know.
I think there's not so many iconic players around now, is there, as there was before?
No.
yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, now I can't resist this, but you got Carl Walker, who's quite good for Manchester City. You got Phil Foden, who's also not bad for City.
Yeah, can do 5 from England.
You're just going to list all the Man City players, yeah? John Stones,
right.
he's not bad, is he?
Yeah, he's not bad.
Well,
Didn't Cole Palmer also play for Man City? Wasn't he quite useful, yeah?
Wow, overrated apparently, according to
Robert
Kev.
Palmer play.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Really enjoyed that. And listeners, do let us know on Facebook and Twitter what you think your choices are, or just let us know about the Euros. And we'll maybe mention them in Melvin's Musings next time. But that was a really interesting topic, wasn't it, gents?
It was.
Yeah, looking forward to the Euros.
Just remind Neil Bygone Berrigan that this is an audio podcast, so nodding doesn't work. Okay, let's move on to the final section of the evening. I'm enjoying tonight immensely, and it's over to Mute Button Matt. Matt, what have you got for us this evening?
So, if anybody's actually was listening earlier, please pay attention. But we're doing all the times that Roy Race played for England, or we saw him actually play for England, because there's times it was mentioned that he was going to go away to play for England, and he didn't play for them, and all sorts. Anyway, and some of this stuff I got off of Stalky Knight's site as well, or some of the information. But it's interesting what an amazing site that is, by the way, if nobody's actually been on there. But some of the information wasn't actually exact because Stalky does his kind of fan fiction stuff as well. So some of it was kind of his ideas of what may have happened in between. So hopefully this is more of a definitive story of what actually happened. So I'm sharing my screen to the guys on the pod, so we can just go through it. Hopefully they move along. So we've got. Can you see that, guys? We've got a black and white picture there of okay. So his debut, Roy's debut was in 1963. He was playing that famous South American country Caragua. I mean, you've been on your holidays. Amazing.
Do you know what? My flight, can you believe my flight got cancelled at the last minute and we never managed to get there? So
oh dear. But yeah, so this is so he's playing against Karagua. Don't know how you pronounce it. It's probably right or wrong. What you find with quite a few of Roy's appearances for England is that he's always got something on his mind. So he doesn't start off the game too well. Something happens at half time and then he does well. That's kind of in a few of these. So in this one, he's thinking about a guy called Tom Dawson who'd been taken ill from Melchester Rovers. And so Melchester were playing at the same time. So he's thinking about Tom Dawson. Anyway, half time, he's not going too well. But in the second half, he hears that Melchester are actually winning. And Tom Dawson scored 2 goals. So suddenly, and as the captain said, Roy, behind you, somebody's actually passing the ball. And he's totally daydreaming now. And then suddenly he wakes up, controls it with his left foot, and scores with his right.
Breaks his leg, it looks like, in the process there.
Yes. I don't know.
That looks like a potential snapping of the ACL of his standing leg as he turns to control that. But
I don't know what he's doing. He's like chopping with his left arm as well. He's pivoting on his right leg as well. I don't know. It's some sort of move. The Wembley crowd went
it's a
wild.
good job he's not in his own area because that arm's definitely in an unnatural position.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's natural about that. I think that's a recovery position, only he's in midair.
And he managed to score with his right foot.
Yeah, I know. He did use his right foot occasionally, I think. Apparently.
Yeah, isn't it?
Keeper didn't even move. Yes, that's the first time he played for England. Then we move along. 1966, he never actually played. We've covered this story with when we had Aussie Leon, because this is when he picked up an injury, I think against Milltown. Yeah, Milltown. So this is it. We didn't hear anything about the World Cup until this point in the story. Then clearly the writers thought we need to mention the World Cup at some point. And so he's on the physio's bench, and they're saying, "Look, sorry, you're not going to be." The doctor says you're not going to be able to make the World Cup. But good news is, Ben Galloway says, good news is you're going to go to Australia and you're going to see loads of kangaroos. Cobber. I don't know. My voice started turning Australian. Yeah, the same aeroplane, same coach. Everybody remembers that episode. So we never actually saw him play in '66, but they did actually mention the World Cup, so that was quite interesting. Then, if I remember, so this is probably the most relevant one at the moment. Bearing in mind it's the Euros. This is from the 1970 annual, and it'd be based around. It would have been, I guess, the 1968 Euros, the European Championship. This is when they only have like 4 teams in it, and there was actually no finals, I don't think. So it's quite a bit of a fairly. It's a longer story than the rest of them, so I'll go through it. But you've got Tubby Morton's in the team with Roy. So this is you join the story. They're in the semi-finals. England are playing Italy. It's 2-2. It's gone to extra time.
Yeah,
you see it. And Jumbo Trudgeon is also playing. So there's 3 Rovers players in the team. So Jumbo Trudgeon is a famous player from the 60s. He was a lord, wasn't he? Millionaire, wasn't he? Jumbo Trudgeon.
His hobby, wasn't
it?
Yeah, just a hobby. So this is 2-2. Tubby comes out, grabs a corner, and Roy's already said to him, "Look, we're gonna do a quick move, one of the old Melchester moves." So Tubby said, "Yeah, okay, it's a gamble, but it's worth trying, Roy." So he grabs the corner, throws it out. Jumbo gets the ball, passes it to Roy, shoots, scores. Roy scores for England, and the crowd are going wild, throwing bits of paper up in the air. Don't know bits of paper they are. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And that's it. So England are into the final thanks to Roy. And it says there we play Portugal in the final in Paris. So So the story moves on, and what you've got Roy on the plane, and somebody, and this is always you know someone's going to be dodgy. They've got moustache, haven't they? You can just tell. You just know straight away. There's a guy started talking to him. So, Roy, I've seen all your big matches. I'd hate to miss this final. Any chance of getting me a few tickets, old boy? I wouldn't mind paying a bit over the odds. What? It doesn't say that, but I'm sure it was something like that. And Roy's saying, "Sorry, I've always been asked that. You didn't say, sorry, why are you sitting next to me? I mean,
who are you?
Who are you? I'll be lucky if I get tickets to satisfy my own family." So obviously this guy's trying to get hold of tickets. They get off the plane. Roy mentions it to the England team manager who's there, and he's going, well, he's got a bit of a nerve. I know him well. He's never watched a game in his life, but he makes a nice living reselling the tickets. So he's a proper ticket tout. This kind of Terry Thomas type character. Anyway, so they're going, and the day before the final in Paris, Roy, Jumbo, and Tubby, they joined up with the rest of the squad at a London stadium for the final workout. And suddenly, there's a party of fans waiting for them, and they're asking for Roy. And there's a group of blokes there, and they go, "There he is. There's Roy Race." And they go, "You wouldn't have think he'd have the nerves to actually face us." And Roy's thinking, quite perplexed. He's like, "Hello, lads. What's going on here?" So they're going, "Wish you luck. You must be joking. We want our money back on these tickets for the final. We paid 3 times the official price for them, and now we're told that they're forgeries." So clearly they've got hold of forged tickets, and they're blaming Roy for it. I'm not quite sure they're blaming Roy, but we'll find out. And Roy's like, "I'm sorry for being conned, but why come to me?" And the guy goes, "Because we didn't expect you to be mixed up in a racket. We bought them from a pal of yours. He was selling them for you." So like Roy's really confused about this, and he say, shocking. I mean, imagine Roy being involved in a ticket selling scandal.
How dare they sully his name?
Oh, how dare they? Anyway, they say there was a chap they met in the Melchester Working Men's Club, the famous Melchester Working Men's Club. I think we've all been down there. 50 pence a pint.
Yeah,
8 dartboards.
Oh, those were the days. 50 pence a pint.
They signed in at the Working Men's Club.
A good act at 1 o'clock on a Friday afternoon as well.
So Royce, he's gonna go and sort this out. He's thinking, what's going on? He actually starts stripping off randomly. Don't know why.
Like the act at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
So anyway, so story continues. He's going to try and find out what's going on. So they go to the Working Men's Club. So we move on to the next page, and there's a frame up there, and he's brought some of the Rovers players. Terry West, who's used to be, I think he was a winger. He's brought Terry West's younger brother there. Blackie's there as well, I think. And they're trying to meet this guy called Ginger, who's the guy which this bloke bought the tickets off of. So anyway, he's going for a setup. So this guy sounds dodgy, and it sounds a bit mafioso.
After yourselves, lads. Look after yourselves.
So Tommy Cook is the guy who built the forged ticket. So Tommy Cook is introduced to Terry's brother, so Terry West's brother, and while Roy and his pals watched, and they go up to this Ginger, and they go, "Ginger, my friend here wants to buy a couple of tickets for the European final. Any chance?" So this Ginger is like looking a bit, "Roy, well, as it happens, Tommy boy, I've still got a few here that Roy asked me to keep back for special pals, of course. The price has gone up." So this Ginger, he's making a packet out of this racket.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Nice, yeah.
Nice.
He scripted that about a week ago.
If only I'd been more prepared, you know me. And he's gone. So Terry West's brother's gone, "You mean you actually know Roy Race?" He goes, "Yeah, sure. Me and Roy, we've been muckers for years.
Oh.
We're like that." And he's got his fingers crossed like that. So this Ginger pretending he's a big friend of Roy. Then suddenly Roy appears. Ginger wasn't expecting this. He goes, "Hello, Ginger. Remember our little deal? I've come for my share of the cash." See what Roy's done there.
Aye.
But then Ginger stands up and goes, "What cash? I made no deal with you. I've made no deal with you. Whoever you are," he doesn't even know it's Roy. Ginger.
Oh, what?
"I never saw you before in my life." And then, of course, everybody's going, "Well, this is the famous Roy Race. He can't be a bosom pal." And so they grab hold of him, and he's gone flaming egg. This Ginger, he's been caught on. He's going, "You're coming with us to the police, or to the Rozzers, or something like that, to the Fuzz." Anyway, he's taken off.
Or if you're listening in 1960, the Peelers.
Oh.
Or the 1870s or something like that. Yeah, the Peelers.
Yeah.
So Blackie says, "We'll take it from here, Roy. You must get back to the team." And he goes, "Thanks, Blackie." Okay. They said, I'll just go and get my coat from the cloakroom, and I'll be on my way. That's obviously a bit of a setup for the rest of the story, because he goes to get to his coat from the cloakroom, and he sees the mustachioed Terry Thomas character walking past. He goes, "Oh, hold on, that's the bloke who tried to con me on the plane. I wonder what he's up to." And he goes outside.
The cad.
The cad. The cad. He goes outside. The guy's he's actually in the phone booth. Roy's outside listening, so it's just around the corner. Not very well soundproof this booth because Roy can hear every single word which the guy is saying on the phone. And the guy's going, "I'm coming over. They've picked up Ginger. I wish I'd never got mixed up in your racket. I was doing all right while I was dealing with genuine tickets. They couldn't touch me for it." So Roy is now thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna have to sort this out." So Roy, the guy leaves and gets in the car. Roy starts following him in the car. You think Roy would be starting to prepare for the final by now, wouldn't you? Really, but Roy's got other things on his mind. You know, Roy
Leave
just
it
needs
to the police.
Wait, what he could have done. He could have done. But it would have been a short story, wouldn't it? It would have been a two-pager. Anyway, so he follows the mustachioed guy, and the guy's gone to this print room where clearly they're forging these tickets. They've got wind of it, and they're trying to destroy the tickets. They're pouring what looks like petrol over loads of tickets.
Sorry, Matt. Can I just say what I love? If this was there's no shredder there, is it? It's actually petrol and a match.
Burn everything.
Yeah. Get a paper in the shredder, quick! Oh no, let's just burn it.
There's no one for health and safety saying, "Look, it's a flammable liquid." You know, have you thought this through?
Brilliant.
So the police, so Roy, sorry, I said the police. Sorry, it's Roy. Of course, I think the police should have been turning up, but Roy turns up. He runs into the room. Suddenly, the crook with a kosh hits him over the head. I mean, koshes. Do people have koshes anymore? I don't know. Where do you buy koshes? Can you get them on Amazon?
Well, I've never really known it.
Everyone had a kosh in the 60s, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it's just an S&M thing now, isn't it?
What from Marks and Spencers? You can get it from M&S.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It looks like is it in with a rather hard sausage?
If you buy one, you get one free.
It's like an Eki Thump, like the goodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Roy's now he's been hit over the head with a sausage, and the England team are now at the London airport, and they're waiting to fly off to Paris, and the managers thinking, "Where is Roy? Where is Roy?" But we flashback. We see Roy is now in the print room. Flames are licking around. He's lying on the floor. He's going to be dead, really. Roy Race is going to die.
This is tense.
It is tense, isn't it?
Can I just interject though? That's a good one. They must have a protocol for this with Roy Race. You know, there must be some kind of procedure there. Every big match he goes missing, doesn't he? So it must be like he's not turned up. We half expected this. Let's go to plan B.
I think that's why he didn't play for England that much. I just thought it's not worth the hassle. We can't afford the security for him.
All the extra planes.
Yeah. Anyway, at this time, so the Flames are looking through the actual print room. But anyway, the police have turned up. Called Ginger had talked his head off.
They must be there for the sting.
Must be, yeah.
Yeah.
The forgers are running out, and they grab them all. The police have got them, and they're going, "Oh, Roy Race is still in there." But they run in and they get Roy out, just in the nick of time. Roy just looks at his watch and goes, "My gosh, I've missed my flight connection to Paris." You know, the first thing he's thinking of now. Oh yeah, now you're thinking of the final, Roy. You weren't thinking about that earlier, weren't you? You're trying to be James Bond. But
James Bond, 007.
Thanks, Roger. And so Tommy Cook is there going,
"The name's James Bond, 007.
Are you going to do Pierce Brosnan, or are you going to leave it there? Or
I think I'll leave it there. I know when to quit.
So Tommy Cook is there. He's still there. The guy who bought the original forged tickets, and he's going, "Look, we're a special chartered flight. I mean, they can afford a special chartered flight, but they couldn't afford to get original tickets in the first place." So I think there's a bit of an explanation needed there. We said, "Look to Roy. Look, you can use our chartered flight." So Roy's like, "Brilliant, Tommy, you're a lifesaver. You must all come." So that all Tommy's mates come with Roy, and they get on the chartered flight. And that's now 50
tickets.
Yeah, but maybe it's they're genuine airline tickets. I'm thinking you are making me think now, Neil. It's 15 minutes now before kickoff. They're slightly worried now because Roy, you're right, Neil. He probably turns up 5 minutes before kickoff normally anyway. So this is Roy time. This is 15 minutes, and he's not there. So, but then suddenly the door bursts open and it's Roy. just matter of factly, not running in, just walking in, like thinking, I've only got 15 minutes, it's fine. You know, this is what I do. And Tommy Cook's behind him, and who's all his mates. And the England manager goes, I nearly had heart failure there. Hurry up. And then he goes, who are these other people? And he goes, these are friends of mine. Make sure they see the game, will you? I promised. So he's promised Tommy that they're going to come and see the game. So the game kicks off finally. And you see some fans in the crowd there. And then we're moving on. The game goes on. So it gets playing against Portugal, remember. Tubby makes a save, so that's good. The fans are watching. So Tommy Cook and all the fans, I think they're on the bench. I think they're on the bench with the England manager. They're jumping up and down. And the England manager's going, keep your arms down. I can't see a thing. I must have been mad to agree to this. The game continues on. Roy has a shot and it's saved. And it's now with minutes ticking towards the threat of extra time. Roy decides on a reckless move. So he suddenly starts to run in the wrong direction. And so much so that somebody in the crowd says, hey, Roy, you're going the wrong way. But he's clever as Roy. He's foxed them. He backhills it to Jumbo, who'd been left unmarked. And then with his right foot, he places it in for the winner. It's there. The crowd go mental. Tommy Cook and his mates jump up. The manager didn't even see what happened. So the England manager didn't even see what actually happened. As I had to say, Jumbo scored a wonderful goal from Roy's pass with one. It was a typical Melchester effort. And that's it. They're coming off the pitch, the last frame, and they're going, great game, wasn't it, Roy says. And the manager goes, I wouldn't know. I'll have to watch the recording on TV. And that's it. England have won the European Championships in 1968.
Amazing.
There you go. So there you go. That was. There's no pictures of him actually picking up a trophy. So
No.
that is it. That's the actual last frame. But
and I don't think that's ever really mentioned because this is the first I've seen this.
So
yeah, but it's never in anything else, and I understand why. And it's quite surprised me, Matt, as well, because the one thing that I've always thought about, certainly as I call it, the IPC verse, that they always seem to steer away from certainly international tournaments like that, which I know you can probably touch on. So to actually see Roy in an England shirt and winning a tournament, it's come as quite a shock to me. It's the first I've seen that.
I don't think it's that well known. And so it's only, how many pages is it? It's about 10 pages. So it's not a lot of pages, and you don't even see him lifting up the trophy. So they didn't make a big deal of it. The big thing was clearly the ticket forgeries. That was the key thing.
Far more important to sort that out than win the Euros for England.
But then I suppose at the time we were World Cup winners, weren't we? So it wasn't that important, England winning the championship.
No, and we touched on this. Sorry, Neil.
I say, I don't think it was classed as like a really big tournament. There was only 7, like you said, 4 teams, weren't they? And
well, the actual tournament, there was big qualification. I mean, there were, in fact, in the early years of the Euros, I think the final was even two-legged. So there was not actually like what we call a finals tournament as such.
So so that's that, and then moving on. So we move on to 97. This is interesting. This is probably one of the most interesting years, really, because they actually did try to integrate the World Cup into the weekly comic. So it's back to the weekly comic in Tiger and Jag, as it is here. Rory was picked again for the World Cup squad. Tubby was still in the goal. Jeff Giles is now there. He's in the squad. But what they did is they intertwined it with Melchester, who were on a tour of South America. I don't know if it's Caragua. I don't know. It doesn't say what country they're in. But so you got pictures that you've got a front cover here. You've got Roy is training with the England team, getting ready for the Romania game. But Romania spelled RUMANIA.
It was like that, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, when I went to school, that's how you spelt Romania.
What, did you go to school in 1970? Blimey.
Well, yeah. But even when I was at school, that's how
was it?
You spelt Romania.
That.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So they did mention the tournament, but obviously they couldn't keep up with it because of the timings. Like we said before, it's impossible in a weekly comic because this was produced 6 or 8 weeks before. But it's interesting they did that, and then the front cover on the 6th of June 1970 actually had Roy playing against Brazil. So they actually mentioned the teams that are in England's genuine group in the World Cup. So Romania, Czechoslovakia, and Brazil. So that, I think that's quite clever actually.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
They tied it in, They obviously couldn't follow the results or anything like that, and because Melchester were on a tour to South America, the way it ends up is Melchester are still on this tour, and then Roy, Tubby, and Jeff turn up at the Melchester game, after the tournament. There's no mention of the results or anything like that, but they just say it's after the tournament. So I think that's quite a clever way of doing it. Really, it's difficult to do it any other way. But you see Roy on the cover there, but you don't see the fact that England lost 1-0 to Jairzinho goal, or the save by Banks or anything like that.
Well, or Morton. I think the save by Morton, the famous.
Sorry,
save by
Morton.
Well, this is it. Tipping the ball over the bar against Mele, not Pele, Mele, that famous Brazilian centre forward.
Mele.
I'm just all I could come up with on the spot.
So that was the 1970 World Cup. Then we move ahead with now 1975. So Roy is picked to play against France in a Euro Nations game. So this must have been like a qualifier or something like that. We don't get any more mention. So this is it. This is no other mention of the tournament, but this is in the weekly comic in Tiger. This one, Roy's got something else on his mind. He's got this. He's friends with a French player called Jean Rimond, and I think his nephew was kidnapped or something like that. Going back, it's always a kidnap.
Yeah.
So he had that on his mind when he's playing the game. So he starts off quite not great, and even in the warm up, he's got this great piece of art actually. He got the England kit from 1975, which I love the England kit from 1975, with the piping, the Admiral with the piping down the arms. I was like Jules Bernard, that was it, not Jean Bernard. Anyway, he finds out at half time, because he didn't have a good first half, but he finds out that the nephew is okay. So again, he picks up his game like we saw in his debut, and he scores 2 goals against France. Great goals as well. It's involving Hutton's artwork there. So that's 1975. There's a couple of other mentions in 1975. Yeah, so in October 1975, you've got Ben Galloway saying they've just been picked for the England squad in the international match against Brazil next month. But that's it. And actually Roy says, great, if we can nail the Brazilians, it would be a nice boost for the European Championships. We didn't qualify for the European Championships in '76, did we? We
not as far as I'm aware, no. That wasn't that was the wilderness years for English football, that period, wasn't it?
Exactly. And then we move to December 1975, and Roy is picked against Mulvania. I think that's another South American team. Doesn't sound like a South American team, does it?
That sounds like an Eastern European job, doesn't it? It's a common thread in a lot of comics, isn't it? That they always seem to fail to name the South American countries and the Eastern European countries. They always used to make them up.
Yeah, if we interview, I'm sure we will interview Barry again. Definitely one of the questions to ask is why they kind of.
These were very hard to get hold of at the time.
I don't know. I think they've mentioned Brazil, haven't they? We've seen that.
Yeah.
I think if they've got players who are going to be dirty in the game, which we've seen here, they won't have the real name. If they're going to a country to be kidnapped, they're not going to say it's a well-known South American country that's kidnapped them.
Yeah, I suppose it's for diplomatic purposes. Yeah,
because they've obviously they're selling the comic. If you look at the front to all foreign countries, so that's probably.
Damn you, Bazran.
I tell you, that's what I was going to say. Neil was turned into the voice of reason there.
I was just going to say, he's taking my job here.
I was going to say, sorry, Simon. But Neil, I
ain't got a clue why they do it.
No, Neil, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It makes perfect
sense, yeah.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. But
even in the United story, when they had the flashbacks, they did it even there.
Well, go on, man. I was going to mention
I was just
something.
Well, go on. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, looking at the Jimmy Grant, which I know Simo's going to do the next episode. Jimmy plays for England, and I found it funny that he's playing in these qualifiers, and I can't remember he's played Sweden, blah blah blah, and then they make up a Scandinavian country name, and you just think, what? Hold on, they're actually playing recognised countries, and then there's this name that's completely fictitious.
Well, so we had it in. Was it when? I'm trying to think. Was it Tug? Was it Quadded or something?
We're still live.
Yeah. We'll cover it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Matt will never get through this. Sorry, Matt.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, it's interesting. No, so anyway, they're playing Mulvania, and what's on his mind at the moment, or at the first part, is he's missing a vital league game. And what he actually got, he had Penny to let him know what the score was of the Melchester game. And what she did, she had a sign up which had like 1-0, but she turned it around the other way, so it was 0-1. So he thinks that Melchester are losing 1-0, but she's putting it around 1-0. So he's thinking, oh my God, I've missed a vital league match. And Rovers. So again, he hasn't played well initially.
So there's just two things on that. I only just spotted that sign in the panel there, like you said, and very interesting. Again, this has been brought up again. Milborough, not Melborough. There's the I instead of the E.
Yeah. I in front of E instead of
Yeah,
after M. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the olden days. It was definitely Milborough, wasn't it? They changed it later on.
Yeah.
So anyway, half time. Rovers actually go 2-0 up, and then because she still got it the wrong way round. Anyway, he realises at half time that Rovers are actually winning 2-0, so he can relax. So the game continues, and I think you alluding to there, Neil, is like there's a bit of a tug on his shirt. Actually, rips his shirt actually.
Yeah.
In the box,
Lovely
but
hat,
it
Ripped
manages.
his shirt in the
It's
box?
superb, David Skew. Yeah, in the what's that goal?
No, I was lining up a filthy joke, but I've changed my mind.
Okay, thanks for that. And mid-air, he acrobatically does an overhead kick straight into the goal.
That's a brilliant goal. Brilliant goal.
So it's so that's against Mulvania. Then we move ahead. I won't cover
look
this.
at that.
This is an iconic
That's a
picture
great
on the
picture.
screen. This is when he's player manager in February '78 versus Holland. And it's quite interesting because you've got Mervyn Wallace there who played for Wales later on. So he played for England and he played for Wales. And interesting, I always thought, why did Blackie Gray not get picked? You know, his best mate, Blackie Gray, who played for England previously. But anyway, but that's when England played. And this is the squad photo with Trevor Francis, Malcolm MacDonald, and all of them, Nicola Lawrence, obviously. Then we move ahead to 1985, so we're into the 80s now. So it's quite a while since Roy was picked previously. Bobby Robson, who was the manager, and there were some brilliant drawings actually of Bobby Robson by David Skew, friend of the show. He was initially interested in Jimmy Slade, and at this stage as well, Carl Hunt, because Carl Hunt had joined the team as well in 84, 85.
Rest in peace.
Yes, absolutely. Well said, Goal. So they're playing France again. They played France a few times, so that was quite interesting over the years.
Sorry to interject. Looking at that cover, I can't really work out whether that is Carl Hunt or Lionel Richie, to be honest, or Trevor McDermott.
Oh, very good, Matt. Very quick.
Yeah, I said Trevor McDermott, didn't I? That's not right, is it? Terry McDermott.
Terry McDermott. Yeah. His brother.
Yeah, that's old news, mate.
Oh dear. Don't make me do a Trevor McDonald impression.
I thought you were going to sing Lionel Richie then. Thank God for that.
No. You'd be dancing on the ceiling if I did that.
Well, we are going all night long at the moment. So the game's
easy.
You're a bit late for that. It's not Sunday morning.
I'm not even going to talk about a story because I can't. I won't even move on to the next year. What happens in this one? I don't know. Oh yeah, England. Yeah, so he's been fouled. It's a good story actually from '85. It's quite an in-depth one off for a few weeks. So this is February 1985. So it was a cover story.
Closely linked potentially to my next feature.
Oh yes, I won't cover it in too much depth. But you've got Carlos Villa, who's a guy we've heard of before, and we'll probably hear of again. But anyway, England draw 1-1 with Roy managing to. It's quite a tough game. He got in some heavy treatment by French players. But yeah, Roy scores the first goal, the French equalise, and some great artwork there. So it went on for a few weeks. I'm showing the next one, which is another cover shot of Roy in the England shirt. Brilliant stuff. And yeah, at the end of it, Roy does get injured, and he finishes off because he may be out of the third round of the European Cup Winners' Cup. But we're not going to mention the European Cup Winners' Cup run, are we, Paul? Because
not this pod, but we might be in one coming up soon.
So that was February '85. So we saw him play. 1986. I'm going to whiz through this, but because we never actually saw him play, because he got picked for the Mexico squad, and you got a picture here of Bob Wilson going, I shall probably be covering the World Cup finals for television, so there's a strong chance I might be commentating on a goal or two from a certain Mr. Roy Race. And Roy's there laughing, leave off, Bob, don't you start. Bob Wilson. And then obviously, there's a bit of him warming up, but he never actually went, didn't he? Because you've got Bobby Robson here going, as Roy scores a goal in training, he goes, Bobby says, I just wish you weren't going to Basran, Roy. If you pick up a serious injury, and he goes, no chance, boss. We're only playing one game. A gentle stroll in the sun as a favour to an old friend.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Absolutely nothing.
Damn you, Basran!
Right, and then so now, I'll whiz through this one because it's dragging on a bit. But this is there's a holiday special. He's playing in France, playing versus France again. This is Tony Harding. Yeah, it's a very short story. It's 3 pages.
I remember this one.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, again, he's not playing well. He's missed a couple of chances. He blazes the ball over the bar, gets through again, and he's an easy chance to slide into the net, but it just trickles past the post. And the crowd are going, Race, he's missed an open goal, and then he misses a header. And even one of the French players says, "Give up, Monsieur Race. You will not score today. I will say this only once." And as he comes off the pitch, a reporter interviews him, which is a bit weird. And he goes, perhaps the great Roy Race, like so many other high-scoring club strikers, does not score many goals at international level. And he says, "Are you, is it because you only seem to be playing best when you're wearing a Melchester shirt?"
Oh yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, and Roy's thought bubble. I guess he's right.
Yeah, but he's probably got ticket outs, been kidnapped, missed the
goal. You've got to give the guy a break, haven't you? You've got to give the guy a break. You're right.
The fact that he's even turned up for kickoff on time is a bit amazing. Of a miracle.
I know. So anyway, second half starts. Roy's got a bit of an idea. Don't know. Maybe he's got an idea up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a bit of a.
All will be revealed.
All will be revealed. Second half starts. No score, but there's a dangerous cross into the box. Roy again, another overhead kick. He only scores overhead kicks for England. That's brilliant.
What he does. Can I just say something there? That is not the same artist. That's David Skew, I think.
I think it's Tony Harding.
Completely different.
Do you think so?
No, I'm not sure.
That's not Skew.
I'm not sure.
I don't think
Unless
that's
you
Skew.
try to copy him.
Might be.
I don't think.
Might work.
Yeah.
It might be trying to do. Tony Harding trying to do a David Skew. Probably that's probably it.
Unless they was going to use that as the main drawing for the summer special. It's just the writing in the background looks different as well, on the advertising boards.
Yeah, I can't see what it says there. No, that's fine. No, I can't see. Yeah, so he scores. He scores another one as well. Big yes! The races rocket. And that's it. Referee blows the whistle. England have won. And the reporter comes on and goes, well, look, Roy, fair enough. You proved me wrong. Even when you're not wearing a Melchester shirt, you play really well. And Roy goes, sorry to disappoint you. And there's a big reveal. He lifts up his shirt, and what's he got? Cheeky little thing. He's only got a Melchester shirt on underneath, hasn't he?
He's put a Rovers Gola strip on, hasn't he? Although obviously not sponsored by Bygone Berrigan.
A bit of a lucky shirt there. A bit like a Rick Stewart skeleton, really. He wouldn't play without that, would he?
He wouldn't.
Must have been boiling.
Yeah, exactly. I know. But anyway, so that's the holiday special. Then we move. This is the last one. Then, so this is the last time I think we actually ever saw Roy Race actually play for England.
Yeah.
There were times where I think in he once had a dream of playing for England in the World Cup. Then I think he played for the B International, I think later on in 92 or 91, I can't remember.
That's right. Yeah.
But this is the last time. So this is, Rovers just won the Littlewoods Cup. And he's picked against Turkey. So he's got the he's got the Nike shirt on there. This is May 1987. And he's getting a bit of rough treatment from the Turks. He gets injured early on, and who else is playing in the team? Just have a look at the team. Was there any other Rovers players?
I don't think on this one there isn't. No, because there's something I'm gonna.
Well, so he scores a goal, and then he carries on, and then I think he scores. I think Turkey come back into it, and then he scores another one, doesn't he? Just score another, a bullet header.
It's 2-0.
And he's injured, and then he gets stretchered off. And did you want to come in, Paul?
Well, there's two things here. What I love, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder. So
no, you're
we
not.
see
I've got no more thunder left.
We see Roy put England 2-0 up, and he's carried off, and basically on that header he's taken a boot right on the knee, which he'd already suffered. And the next week's edition is this the end? And so we're informed that he's got serious damage to his ligaments, and the doctor informs him it's not just from this match; it's obviously the years of playing. But what I loved about this, we just assume that England held on for a 2-0 victory. We never see how this match ends. And my other thing, which is a bit of a favourite thing, when we're talking about the Football Picture Story monthlies, and I think we mentioned it in Nipper, about the old Mr. Bateson's car being out of, kilter, as you called it, chitty bang from a different era.
Yeah.
England are playing Turkey. This is 1987, and on the same night, Melchester Rovers are playing a league game. That did not happen in 87. This would have been an official. FIFA dates have been going on for years now.
Right.
And it's interesting. There's a common thread that when Roy's playing for England, like you mentioned the business with Penny, that wouldn't have happened. That just didn't happen in those dates. There were no league fixtures on those international dates.
That's not strictly true, Paul.
Well,
come voice of reason.
I'm going to stick my neck out here because growing up, I always found it amazing that that's what happened in rugby union, and I never understood it.
I think it was a rarity, but do you remember that situation where Mark Hughes played twice in the same day?
The German team, wasn't it?
Yeah, he played a European Championship qualifier against Czechoslovakia, then was flown to play for Bayern Munich in a German Cup match on the same day.
Yeah,
crazy.
And didn't Phil Collins do that as well? Oh no, that was live, wasn't it?
It's 7 o'clock. No,
well,
okay.
the only thing I'm going to say this, Emma, and I don't remember that, but the point is, if England had an international, none of the top division didn't play.
You're right. I'm just.
It's a fair point. Well,
what they didn't used to do was they didn't used to cancel the fixtures the week before like they do now, did they? Just you played Saturday.
No, the internationals would be midweek. That's right.
You'd be back in playing weekend again.
Yeah, definitely.
So in summary, this is what and if any listeners know any different, then please let me know. We actually see him play 10 times for England.
Wow.
He scores 12 goals. Again, not a bad return, but you take that when you take, even though he's only playing for half the games. Let's face it. Most of the time, he's thinking about someone who's been kidnapped or his wife in the stand. So he played against Carragua, Italy, Portugal, Brazil, France 3 times. So France didn't like him because obviously he's a bit of a curse on them. Holland and Turkey and Albania. Yeah, that was it.
Do you know something there as well? I'm amazed though that he never actually donned the goalkeeper's jersey for England, did he? As Simo said, there was never an injured goalkeeper, and Roy had to go in. But I must admit that it always amazed me that I'm surprised that you've actually managed 12. You alluded to it. There might have been another appearance, but it was definitely a JR or what is it, Bobby Ewing shower scene dream sequence, wasn't there, in one of the summer specials?
that was one where Roy, I think Penny. I think he ends up turning around to kiss Penny, thinking it was
he's kissing the World Cup. He'd won the World Cup or something.
He was going to say thinking he's kissing Blacker.
That was in the fan fiction.
Yeah.
There's obviously a reason for it, isn't there? Because I've got my own views on Roy Race, but obviously wasn't a popular guy outside of Melchester, was it? It must have been difficult to get on with.
Well, there were two things. I mean, for me, the one thing I never liked, and I don't like about it, I think we forget this is fiction, and I think IPC in particular. Yeah, I know. Sorry to break this to you, or I nearly said something there, but and IPC were always worried, and we mentioned this again when we did the Nipper story. It was funny. Blackport Rovers got relegated, Melchester Rovers got relegated, but they got relegated a couple of seasons after Tottenham and Manchester United got relegated in the 70s. Melchester Rovers do the double. They did the double after Arsenal had done it. So there were these things like in the storylines, or we won't put that in because it's never actually happened in modern day football. And they didn't want to touch on the international. I mean, to me, I just think, so what if Roy Race goes and plays in a World Cup and wins the World Cup? It's fiction. But they were too scared to write England winning a World Cup with them not actually winning a World Cup in real life. That's my interpretation of it anyway.
I think that's part of it. Part of it is just the fact they've only got 52 weeks in a season, and you've got like 60 games to take in, and then you've got his personal life, and you've only got 2 pages every 52 weeks to get everything in. But you're right. I think that's probably the main thing. Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's England winning the World Cup in 1982 wouldn't have sat good with everybody when we know they didn't really. It's different.
Plus,
I would have.
It probably helps as well that they're basing the stories on something that actually happened. I guess it makes writing the stories easier if you're basing it on something that's actual factual. Just makes it that's a little bit easier.
Yeah, Do you know what? I like to live in a dream world. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, I'm going to go on. What were you?
No, go on.
No, because what I was going to say will be quite finite. So go on, Matt.
I was just going to say, I think 70 was the best they did it when they actually alluded to it, so you knew that Roy was picked, but you didn't see the actual games or anything like that.
Yeah, can I just say, Matt, though, again, and that's my point. In 1970, because we'd won 66 and we had a really good team, everybody felt that we had a stronger team than 66, and us alongside Brazil, we were the massive favourites for that World Cup. So they stuck their neck out because they genuinely thought there was a chance that we were going to win it again. So they put it in the comic.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Could be.
Well, I'm going to hold up the additional time board, and it's saying 5 minutes because thank you to Mute Button Matt there, because that was a long section, but really, really worthy of doing it in one once again. It was really, really enjoyable. So thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Epic.
Okay, let's move on to the socials, shall we? I shall start. Our champ, weareunited.proboards.com, 55,000 posts, mostly a reference site now, because most of the interaction goes on the Facebook groups. And who am I going to hand over to do the Facebook groups to? Everyone goes quiet.
I'll jump in there. So there's the 2 Facebook groups. There's the Champ, We Are United and Football Picture Story Monthly Fans group. And then there's the fantastic Roy the Rovers comic 40 years on, in brackets Melchester Rovers, which of course was Ed Taylor's brainchild. So we were always a shout out to Ed. And thanks very much, as I like to say to Ed. Brilliant content on there, and that's where we get a lot of the feedback. So well worth a visit if anybody's listening that haven't been onto those 2 pages.
Definitely.
I think before we move on with the socials, it's worth mentioning, as we do every so often, a big thank you to Tim Skew for his wonderful theme tune. We absolutely love it, and we're very humbled that he took the time to do that for us. So thank you, Tim. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Right then, who wants to do the next socials?
I'll do it. I'll do the Twitter, X.
Bygone Berrigan got away with it there, and Simo.
Yes. Leave it to the experts.
It's at champ_R. So at champ_RARE.
Wonderful. It's been a cracker this evening, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
I'd just like to remind Neil Bygone Berrigan for a second time that this is an audio podcast, and nodding doesn't necessarily work.
Yes. Do you know what I love now, though? He nods and then he sees it, realises it himself, and he's just chuckling away on his own.
Yeah, but if we ever put this one up on YouTube,
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I tell you. Yeah, we do put some
Picking
episodes
notes
up
and-
on YouTube, listeners. So, what
Yeah.
are you saying there, Neil?
Let's just say you'll be able, if it ever goes up on YouTube, you'll see us picking my nose and sorting my hair out. And
And the viewing figures have just gone down.
Yeah.
keep it real. Keep it real.
And it's a goodbye then to Bygone Berrigan, who won't be returning. Let's do
Berriman.
the who?
Bogey Berrigan.
Oh no, I prefer Bygone.
Okay,
Bygone
stick to
Berrigan,
Bygone.
yeah.
I'll edit it out, don't we?
Yeah. Hang
That
on.
might stick.
Hang on. Just leave a
Literally,
gap.
might stick.
Just leave. Hang on. Just leave a gap. Leave a gap. Don't edit
Okay.
this out. Just leave a gap. Hang on. Right then, shall we do the goodbyes? I say we start with Simo. Over to you, Simo.
I'll keep it quick. Thanks to everybody for listening in, and we will be back soon. Enjoy. Good evening.
Well said.
Goodbye. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen.
Have you finished?
Yes.
Thank you to the voice of reason there, the baldy man himself, Simo. Over to Neil Bygone Berrigan, who's not picking his nose.
He's waving at the camera. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Classic Bygone. Classic Bygone.
Again, thank you again for having me on the show. It's been fantastic. Once again, I've really enjoyed it. And as they say in Caragua,
Okay. You're going out in flames there, aren't you, Neil?
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh God. Brilliant.
And by the way, I did mention picking his nose again to make it really difficult for Mute Button Matt to edit those things out.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to edit anything. I can't be bothered.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Paul, Tangent Paul, over to you.
Do you know what? I do apologise. I have just got one question I've been wanting to ask.
Oh God, no, you can't do that.
So, literally 30 seconds, because obviously you've said it, Simo, voice of reason, and Vor, you're calling it goal. So I want to know, does that mean then that Wolverhampton Wanderers want to vote Simo off of our podcast?
Well, tune in.
That's a good point.
Tune in next
very
time.
good.
Yeah, we'll have a personal vote between the rest of us. Do you want to cast your vote now, Neil, seeing as you're not only not going to be on the next episode, but you've been fired?
Yeah,
No,
just not Neil.
Wolves are my second team. I completely agree. So I want you to stay. That's great.
All right then. Well, we'll find out next episode if we remember whether we will ever see the Vor again.
Yeah, don't ask Ridders. He'll still be angry at me for Edgehog.
Exactly.
Are you going to do your goodbye now, Tangent?
Yeah, brilliant. Looking forward to
He
the Euros
waved
next
as well.
week. And let's hope that Gareth gets a chance to review his squad and put in the young talents of Tommy Barnes and Billy Dane. I'm sure they're old enough now to be bursting into that squad.
He's so rehearsed that.
Yeah, I know. What's interesting is, and it's a little spoiler, next episode it will be hosted by Tangent Paul once again. When be prepared, make sure you're well hydrated, because his opening monologue, well, it'll be up there like biblical. So look forward to that. Thank you though to Tangent.
Thank you, Gull.
Finally, Matt, Mute Button Matt. Hello.
Yep. Hello. Goodbye. Really enjoyed it today. Enjoy your holiday, Neil.
Thank you.
Look forward to the postcard. Excellent stuff. And looking forward to in 2 weeks' time, 23rd of June. England will still be in the Euros then, so let's be positive.
They will be if Dane and Barnes are up front.
Oh dear. He don't have to go on, doesn't he?
Is that Dixie Dane and John Barnes?
Billy and Tommy, but you knew that.
Right then, I'm going to make everyone shut up now, because otherwise we'll be here forever. It's myself, Gull, saying thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one. We certainly did. Well, some of us did. I don't know about the rest of them. But anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time, as already mentioned, for episode 80. Can you believe that? Episode 80. Tangent Paul will be...
We're not allowed to say anything. So, wow. 80.
Tangent Paul will be hosting, and we will have some great sections for you. Bygone Berrigan will be back soon, of course, if we allow him back in the studio. Take care, everyone. See you in 2 weeks. And yeah, bye. Oh, stop waving. They can't see you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Have you stopped that, Matt? It
No.
hasn't said